After the Ebon Hawk crashed on Athema, T3 checked on Revan and ensured he was still alive. As he detected strangers approaching, T3 had no option left but to hide, whether through circumstance or through their inability to sense fluctuations in the Force. They neglected to notice T3M4. As these two strangers took Revan and departed, T3 followed his hidden programming Bastila had implanted, directing him to return to her should he and Revan be separated, and to not tell anyone what happened until he found her. T3 spent the next 4 months scouring the deserted city on Athema, gathering scrap, salvage, and other necessary parts. In this time, his scanners picked up no refugees, looters, animals, insects, or even plants. A year later, T3 managed to make the Ebon Hawk airborne again, even though the parts only made the hyperdrive functional at minimal efficiency. But it was enough for the Hawk to begin its slow journey back to Republic space, which would take years. Once he reached Republic space, T3 would learn that since the time they left the known galaxy, yet another war was started by the remnants of the Sith left after Malak's defeat. Not knowing what had happened, T3 was unable to find Bastila. He didn't know if she was even alive, so he was unable to complete his mission. Instead, his journey would intertwine with the path of another very unique individual. Kreia was Revan's former master. The Jedi Council had blamed her for Revan's fall to the dark side, along with the fact that her teachings only bred failures. As a result, she was cast out of the Order, and she followed her own destiny. With time, she would learn that Revan had gone into the unknown regions, and she feared for her former pupil that he had indeed fallen to the dark side and lost his way. Deciding to retrace his steps, hoping to find him, Kreia finds the Trace Academy and the teachings of the ancient Sith. As she studied the scriptures through the Force, the writings would tell her that a sane mind could never grasp the truth of the universe, hidden in plain sight, that the Force manipulates all life it touches, and that one's destiny is never truly theirs, in their own hands. Instead, this destiny is dictated by the Force, and any being connected to it is enslaved by it, as the Force always seeks balance, regardless of the consequences needed to achieve it, whether it be life and growth, or death and destruction. The Force, it seemed, was a relentless master who enslaved all beings it touched. Kreia vowed to free the universe of its shackles by destroying the Force. Malachor 5 was proof that it could be done. It was a wound in the Force, and if something can be wounded, it can be killed. Taking on the mantle of Darth Treya, she united the scattered remnants of the Sith left after Darth Malak's defeat, forming the Sith Triumvirate with Darth Sion and Darth Nihilus. United, the Sith would take revenge on the Jedi who had condemned Kreia and her teachings, while she looked for ways to set her main goal of killing the Force in motion. It appears Darth Revan's teachings were correct after all, in saying that any Sith master who takes on more than a single apprentice is a fool.
There are dark places in the galaxy where few tread, ancient centers of learning, of knowledge, but I did not walk alone. To be united by hatred is a fragile alliance at best. But my will was not law. There were disagreements, ambition, and hunger for power. There are techniques within the Force against which there is no defense. was cast down, stripped of my power, exiled. I suffered indignities and fell into darkness.
Now exiled by the Sith, as she had been by the Jedi, Darth Kreia becomes Kreia once more. After yet another betrayal, she was more determined than ever to take revenge on all who had wronged her, and to destroy the Force. Her journey would lead her to find T3 and the Ebon Hawk. Around this time, the Sith would start their hunt for Surik, for killing her would mark their victory. As Surik returned to the known galaxy, she was unaware of what had happened, and she would be captured, but Kreia would succeed in rescuing her from the Sith. For Surik was an instrumental tool through which Kreia's plans could be achieved, not for her ties to Revan, but the wound in the Force she carried, a wound which was formed through her own instinctive choice. Kreia hoped to use this wound to achieve her own goals.
Find what you're looking for amongst the dead.
So she inserted herself as her teacher, hoping to train her in the way she believed was best. T3 traveled with them, but he still would not tell anyone of what happened to Revan, as per Bastila's instructions, until he found her. Instead, he stood by Surik's side, aiding her in the battle against the Sith remnants, which sought to purge the galaxy of Jedi. Kreia would aid and manipulate Surik to achieve many of her plans. Her final goal was to kill the Force, and to achieve it, she had to bring Surik to Malachor 5, in hopes that if she fell there, the Force wound surrounding her would resonate off the wound of Malachor and build an endless echo that would spread continuously, ripping the fabric of the Force open until it destroyed the Force everywhere in the universe. At that moment, before their final confrontation, Kreia answered all of Surik's questions and revealed the truth.
It is said that the Force has a will. It has a destiny for us all. I wield it, but it uses us all, and that is abhorrent to me, because I hate the Force. I hate that it seems to have a will, that it would control us to achieve some measure of balance when countless lives are lost. But in you, I see the potential to see the Force die, to turn away from its will, and that is what pleases me. You are beautiful to me, Exile. A dead spot in the Force, an emptiness in which its will might be denied. From the moment you awoke, I have used you. I have used you so that you might become strong, stronger than I. I used your death to deceive the Sith, to make them believe they had won, so they would turn on each other. I used you to keep the Lords of the Sith from condemning the galaxy to death with their power unchecked. I used you to lure them to Telos, where they could be at last fought and killed. I used you to reveal Atris's corruption so that her teaching could be ended before it began. I used you to gather the Jedi so they could be destroyed. And I used you to make those who wounded me reveal themselves, so they could be killed by the Republic.
But even though Surik was a tool to achieve her plans, Kreia did not treat her only as a means to an end. She treated her as a student, sharing her wisdom wherever she could, making her stronger. Kreia used the Force to intimidate and dominate the minds of Surik's allies, ensuring they would not get in the way. One of these allies included Mandalore the Preserver, who could not be intimidated, but she would find a way to manipulate even him.
What do you want?
Is all in readiness?
It is, like I promised. Why? You want to back out now?
My only concerns are for the one you escort to Onderon, Mandalorian. Would you do any less for one of your clan?
Don't pretend to understand us. We Mandalorians are a breed apart.
If by apart you mean scattered, broken, and lost, then yes, you are correct.
Not for long. Soon the Mandalorians will be strong again, united as one clan under one banner. Mine.
Ah, yes, the Great Crusade, after the first one was ended by Revan and the Jedi. Such a defeat was merciful, an echo of the end, when your ships were in flames, crushed in the grip of Malachor 5. But I do not need to remind you of such things. The future is always in motion. It is a difficult thing to see. Perhaps there will be no New Age Mandalore, no great Mandalorian crusade. Perhaps your people fought their last battle at Malachor 5, and you have been dying ever since, a quiet death that will last centuries. And perhaps all that remains will be what I see before me. A man wounded by a Jedi, encased in a Mandalorian shell, hunted by the thought of being the last of the Mandalorians.
You've got some guts talking to me like that. You think your age or your Jedi whelp are going to keep you safe from me?
No, Mandalore, you are wrong. I hope that it is you who will keep the one I travel with safe. You are loyal, and you have served many masters, even when they abandoned you. Do you wonder where he wanders now, Mandalore? Why he gave you your orders, then abandoned you at the edge of the galaxy?
How do you know that?
I know many things, and I can answer the question that burns within your shell, Mandalore. But there is a price. You must keep the one I travel with safe. She is important to me, more important than anything. Show the same loyalty you have shown in the past, Mandalore. If there is a Mandalorian crusade, let it be for something that will carry your people's memory into the future. So when the time comes when there are no more Mandalorians, then at least their honor will remain. The one I travel with has walked your same path, and I ask that when the end comes, that you remember that kinship, even if it seems there is nothing else left.
Forget the Jedi. Keep your eyes on her.
Despite her manipulations of Surik's allies, Kreia never once swayed her from her instinctive choices, from who she was meant to be. She taught Surik much about the brutal reality of the world, about consequences that reverberate through the Force, in an attempt to make her as powerful as she could be.
Manipulation is done through propelling events, or selected ones, into motion. It is done through teaching, through example, and through conviction. And the greatest of victories are not manipulations at all, but simply awakening others to the truth of what you believe, of hearing it echoed around you in life. But let us be silent. Words and thoughts are distractions. Feel this moment, for as long as it will last. Feel life as it is, with the crude matter stripped away.
She did so because, in the end, it matters not what the final outcome would be. Either way, Kreia would win. If Surik fell here, at Malachor 5, the Force would be destroyed. And if she survived and killed Kreia, she would prove that she was prepared for the next step in her journey. She knew that she trained Surik well the moment the final blow was struck, for Surik did what needed to be done, even if it meant killing a master whom she respected and cared for, and whom she did not want to kill, to save the galaxy. Her training was complete.
It is done. At last, it is done. You are greater than any I have ever trained. By killing me here, you have rewarded me more than you can possibly know. Many things do I see as I gaze here from the heart of Malachor. This place channels such energies. If it matters to you at this last moment, I shall look into the future and tell you of what I see. It is my last gift to you, from one exile to another.
With the Jedi Order destroyed, it appeared there was no future for the Jedi. Yet those who followed Surik would be those who would build it.
They were the lost Jedi, you know, the true Jedi upon which the future will be built. They simply needed a leader and a teacher.
The blinded seer whom she redeemed from darkness, the Jedi whom she inspired to change the Republic, the huntress who cast aside her past to step into the future, the fool, even Canderous, Mandalore the Preserver, who aided Surik, a Mandalorian who helped save the Republic once again.
Many battles does that one have left in him, as Revan intended. A general needs an army as he needs those he trusts. And Canderous is a loyal beast, no matter how much he is broken upon Revan's will. But you know this.
Kreia told Surik of each of their futures, of their lives and deaths. This was her last gift, to see the lives of those she held close, to know how they would live, grow, and how they would die, for she would not be there to see it. Kreia shared with Surik what she discovered here in the depths of the Atreus Academy, of the empire that lurks in the dark.
It paved the way to Korriban, you know, the remnants here. And because Malachor, like Korriban, is on the fringes of the ancient Sith Empire, where the Sith wait for us in the dark, the Sith is a belief, and its empire, the true Sith Empire, rules elsewhere. And Revan knew that the true war is not against the Republic. It waits for us beyond the Outer Rim, and he has gone to fight it in his own way. And like you, he knew he must leave all loves behind as well, no matter how deeply one cares for them, because such attachments are not the way of the Jedi, and they would only bring doom to them both in the dark places where he now walks. It would have helped had he made her understand, but she was always strong-willed, that one, and did not understand war as Revan did. But he will need warriors, Sith and Jedi, any who can be sent after him into the depths of space, for any who know the way. Perhaps you shall go there with him and do battle at the end of all things. Instead, I remained here, and now show others the way. The small one who waits for you outside this place, I sense it has one last journey for you. You must go where Revan did, into the unknown regions, where the Sith, the true Sith, wait in the dark for the great war that comes.
Kreia never told Surik of her future. From the heart of Malachor, she could see the future of everything, of the Jedi, the Sith, the Mandalorians, and even the Republic. Perhaps the wound that Surik carried still concealed her future from Kreia's eyes. But perhaps it's possible she could see Revan and his future, where he walked now, where he was imprisoned, waiting for the exile to come. If she did, she would know better than to reveal it. Perhaps, if Surik saw the future, she may try to resist, to change what is to come.